Doctor, you've mentioned that you're a vegan, right?
I'm not an ethical vegan, which
Okay.
an ethical vegan would say, well, there's, some broth that has a little bit of, chicken base
Sure.
to it. I do it for health's sake. So
Okay.
I would say that 98%, I'm vegan for 35 years. I do it for health's sake. If I'm occasionally at a buffet and someone says there's a little sliver of chicken or whatever, I'll occasionally eat it, but I don't order it, I don't buy it, I don't go out of my use to use it as a protein base because I know that I get all the protein I need from sweet potatoes and whole natural foods, so long as I meet my caloric needs. I'm not too low in body weight because that can be as problematic as being too overweight. I like to maintain that lean body mass of strong lean mass somewhere for me, at my weight and body weight at about under 10% body fat. So that keeps me in good fighting shape.
Well, and you're very fit, and I think if people see pictures, they'll understand that. You're big into protein. So where does protein come from? You touched on it a little bit. If you're eating that kind of diet, can you get enough of that kind of protein?
Yeah, not only enough, you get more than enough. I think a lot of the references were based on trying to get enough grams of protein based on an inferior source of protein. And this may sound strange to you, but the protein base were based on what's called PER, protein efficiency ratio. And the original nutrition textbooks by Osborne and Mendel took a group of rats, literally, and they fed one cage of rats potatoes only, another group of rats in another cage eggs only, another group meat only, and another rice only, and so forth. And then they measured their growth rate, protein efficiency ratio. They want to see how big the rats grew based on the consumption of how many grams of protein and calories. Well, that didn't prove anything other than rats are carnivores and that they respond very well to eggs as the standard protein, which is what was determined, that they grew best on eggs, followed by meat and cheese and so forth, and less so on rice. And then they went on to make the statement that somehow rice, for example, or sweet potatoes were an incomplete protein. When in reality, if you analyze human breast milk and you give it to rats, this has been done, the rats don't grow very well. So I have a problem with that connection because obviously human breast milk, my little 4-year-old is at the 97th percentile growth rate compared to children in the nation. So he's tall, he's lean, he's fit, he's in great shape. And none of my children suffered from being breastfed. But a rat, if you fed a rat the breast milk, they would have suffered in terms of size and growth rate. So my definition then is, where do we get the right amount of protein? And answer your question, we have to look at the analysis, the protein amino acid analysis. And all 8 essential amino acids are found in the rice, the sweet potatoes, the vegetables. It's just important that you get enough calories to meet that amino acid need. So if you're getting somewhere between, say, 45 and 75 grams of protein, that's a generous amount. The World Health Organization states 35 grams of protein is more than enough to meet the bodily needs of a 155-pound individual. 200-pound individual might need, let's say, 60 grams of protein. I probably routinely take in around 60 to 65, 70 grams of protein. I don't overdo it, and my plant-based proteins come from whole superfoods, not from meat, cheese, eggs, fish, chicken, turkey, or eggs. I don't use any of those foods. As I mentioned, occasionally they slip into my diet if I'm at a buffet or something, and it's a salad, and they threw in a little something. I'm like, oh, okay, why are you using that? I said, I'd prefer not, but okay, it's in the food, so I eat it. But the point is your protein needs are adequately met and in a superior fashion because the protein absorption is superior. So where, let's say I took 35 grams of protein from sweet potato, there's a protein sparing effect from the complex carbohydrates in the sweet potato, meaning the energy needs of the body are met first, then that 35 grams of protein, because it's very similar amino acids to what's in human breast milk, will be highly absorbed effectively and efficiently for the organ needs, the muscle needs, and the bodily needs. So that's where 35 to 65 grams of protein is more than sufficient. It's when you get up to animal products, you need double the amount of protein to meet the amino acid requirements because it's not an amino acid pattern that the human body understands. And that's where Dr. Lee showed in a study with giving people rice only, and these were college students aged 20 to 22, and they fed their protein nitrogen needs on a rice-only diet compared to rice and chicken. Well, everyone thought the chicken and rice diet would clearly give them the most amount of protein absorption, and they were shocked to find that they absorbed 20% more nitrogen protein retention on the rice only than the chicken and rice. Something about chicken and animal proteins and eggs is inefficiently absorbed in the human body and inappropriate for the human body. So contrary to popular belief, I would tell people to abstain from, particularly if they're worried about kidney diseases, Kidney dialysis is out of control in this country. The number of people having to submit to from so much protein due to overload of protein, acidic conditions damage the kidneys in athletes. We see a lot of former athletes with kidney damage. We also know that osteoporosis, the Sally Fields disease, you know, it's not per se only solved by the drug. I think if you backstepped a little bit and looked at in Hong Kong, where they eat a lot of rice, you know, a good source of protein, very frail people, but good bone densities. They rarely have hip fractures and bone fractures because their bone density is so good, because they're getting their calcium, magnesium, zinc met without excess protein that cause an acidic condition and loss of protein. So the loss of bone density, that is. So I think that when we go full circle, the public needs to be aware that we get a superior source of protein from rice, hemp, sweet potatoes, vegetables. Asparagus is like over 35% protein. So you get a lot of natural protein in whole superfoods.